My name is Claire, and if you've ever wondered what it feels like to be betrayed by someone who shares your home, your family, and even your childhood, then maybe my story will help you understand. For most of my life, I believed family meant protection, love, and loyalty. But what I experienced was the exact opposite. My stepsister didn't just dislike me, she tried to ruin my life piece by piece. And I had no idea how far she was willing to go, until it was almost too late. When I was 13, my parents divorced. It was messy, loud, and filled with more tears than I ever thought possible. My mother raised me mostly on her own. We didn't have much, but we had each other. Years later, my mom remarried a man named Richard. He was kind enough to her, but the surprise was that he came with a daughter, Sophie. Sophie was 1 year older than me. At first glance, she seemed perfect. Blonde hair that caught the sun like gold, flawless skin, clothes that looked like they belonged in a fashion magazine, and a smile that charmed everyone she met. She was the type of girl people wanted to be friends with instantly. And then, there was me. Quiet, a little awkward, someone who preferred books over parties, someone who still wore thrifted clothes because money was tight. From the very beginning, I could feel the tension. Sophie didn't want me around. The first day I moved into their house, I knocked on her door just to say hi. She looked at me, rolled her eyes, and said, "Great. Just what I needed. A charity case living in my space." I froze. Charity case? That was the first thing she said to me. It didn't stop there. At school, she ignored me. At home, she treated me like an intruder. My mom kept saying, "Give her time, Claire. Blended families are hard." So, I gave her time. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. But instead of softening, Sophie's dislike grew sharper. It started with little things. My favorite sweater went missing. I later saw her wearing it, claiming she thought it was hers. My homework disappeared from my desk the night before it was due. I got detention for not submitting it. My phone charger mysteriously stopped working, only for me to later find it hidden in her drawer. But I thought, maybe it's just sibling rivalry. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe this is just what happens when two teenage girls are forced to share a home. I couldn't have been more wrong. One Friday night, Sophie threw a party while her dad and my mom were out of town. She told everyone I was the nerdy little stepsister who wasn't allowed to come out of her room. But that wasn't enough for her. The next morning, when the house was trashed, she told her dad that I was the one who invited my friends over and ruined everything. I got grounded for 2 weeks. No phone. No going out. Nothing. I tried to explain. I begged my mom to believe me. But Sophie had already planted the seed of doubt. "Claire, you have to stop blaming Sophie for everything," my mom said. It was like screaming into the void. Nobody believed me. When I turned 16, I made my first real friend at school. Her name was Emily. She was sweet, funny, and she didn't care that I wasn't popular. For the first time, I felt like maybe I wasn't invisible. But Sophie, she couldn't stand that. She started hanging around Emily. At first, I thought it was nice, maybe we could all be friends. But slowly, Emily stopped replying to my texts. She stopped inviting me to hang out. One day, I walked into the cafeteria and saw Emily sitting with Sophie and her friends, laughing like they'd been besties forever. And me? I was just a shadow. That night, Sophie came into my room, smirking, and said, "Did you really think someone like Emily would stick with you when she could have me?" It broke something inside me. But the worst was yet to come. When I was 18, I got accepted into my dream college. A small art school I had worked my whole life to get into. I had spent countless nights sketching, painting, preparing my portfolio. One day, I got an email from the admissions office. It said my scholarship application had been withdrawn. I was confused, I never withdrew it. After days of panic and endless phone calls, I finally got the truth. Someone had emailed the school, pretending to be me, saying I was declining the scholarship. Guess who had access to my laptop? Yes. Sophie. I confronted her, shaking with rage. She didn't deny it. She just laughed. You'll never be better than me, Claire. This is my house. My family. My life. You're just an unwanted extra. That was the day I snapped. I stormed downstairs, told my mom and Richard everything. The missing clothes, the lies, the party, the fake email. At first, they looked at me like I was making it all up. But then I pulled out the printed email from the college. The IP address matched our house. There was no denying it anymore. Richard's face fell. My mom's eyes filled with tears. Sophie screamed, saying I was ruining her life, that I was lying, that I was jealous. But this time, no one believed her. The fallout was brutal. Sophie was grounded for months. Her dad cut off her allowance. She lost privileges at school. And for the first time ever, she wasn't the golden child. But the damage she did to me was already carved deep into my life. I had to fight tooth and nail to get my scholarship reinstated. Thankfully, the school believed me once I explained. But the trust, the years of being dismissed by my own family, those scars remained. I left for college carrying that weight. And even though Sophie tried to text me, tried to apologize, I never responded. Looking back now, I realize something important. Not all family is defined by blood. Sometimes, the people who are supposed to protect you are the very ones who try to break you. But here's the truth I want anyone listening to know: your worth is not determined by the cruelty of others. Sophie tried to ruin my life. She failed. I survived. I became stronger. And today, I'm living a life she can't touch, no matter how hard she tried. So, to anyone out there dealing with betrayal inside your own family, you are not alone. And trust me, one day, your strength will be the loudest answer to all the people who tried to bring you down.